I got a 2015 MacBook Pro here that wasn't turning on. After some general troubleshooting, I realized the logic board was the issue, so I needed to remove the logic board. So you'll see me removing it here. I do a few tests during the process, plugging it back in to see if anything changes after I disconnect some items, and nothing did change, so I continue removing the logic board. Realized immediately when I flipped the board over that there was some liquid and some liquid damage. As you can see here, the corrosion was pretty extensive. Spent a little time scraping things away. Ultimately, the liquid had destroyed that little copper test point, so that trace at that point was no longer actually connecting to the resistor that was over to the right. Scraped away some of the conformal coating so that when I run a jumper wire here, I have a place to lag it onto. Adding some flux here. Try to see if I could just re-tin things, touch up the pads without removing the components. But after a little bit of that, I could tell that the damage was too much and I was going to need to remove the components. So using some hot air, I go ahead and remove the resistor, capacitor, and the chip. At this point we can really see how bad the corrosion was. You can see those copper pads are just about gone. So this is going to require me to run some jumper wires and using the wire to create my own little pads. Just taking a look at the bottom of the chip there, and you could see the pad on the chip also corroded. Just adding a little leaded solder here, cleaning some of that up. So here's my jumper wire that I'm going to create a new pad with. Now this wire, mind you, is really about as thin as a hair. I tried using the leftover wire, but it ended up being a little bit too short. So I took it back off and grabbed a little bit longer piece. Alright, jumper wires are done and I start replacing components. I did mess up on my video here and I didn't hit record when I needed to, but there you go. You can see capacitor, a resistor, and the IC has been replaced. Spend a little time here trying to clean up the flux, get rid of the old components. So now it's time to plug the power cord back in and see if we get a light on the power cord on the charger. We did not last time, there was no light at all. Once I plug it in here, I do see we get a light, and you'll notice the fan starts spinning. So we can call this fixed at this point, but I go ahead and clean up some of the dust off of the logic board and in the case, and reassemble it back into the case just to test it and make sure it does boot up. And there we go, it is booting up, and this will be one happy customer. Thanks for watching.